Hello friends, in this lecture we shall talk about e-commerce. So what is e-commerce? E-commerce or electronic commerce or internet commerce is the activity of buying or selling products using the internet. Sale of physical products online is often referred to as e-commerce, but any type of commercial transaction that is facilitated over the internet is also described as e-commerce type. All aspects of operating an online business is described as e-business, while e-commerce specially refers to transaction of goods and services. How did e-commerce evolve? E-commerce has achieved many milestones throughout the years. Few important ones are: in 1979, invention of online shopping. This achievement is credited by Michael Aldrich. With the help of a domestic telephone line, Michael connected a modified domestic TV to a real-time transaction processing computer. In 1982, introduction of Minitel in France, which was used for online ordering. In 1994, the Navigator browser was released by Netscape. First online bank was opened and Pizza Hut offered online ordering on its web page. In 1998, PayPal came into existence, and in 2002, PayPal was acquired by eBay for $1.5 billion, and the scope of online shopping changed forever. In 2003, Amazon posted its first yearly profit after almost 8 years. In 2014, with an increase of 12% over 2019 and 9% of all retail sales, US e-commerce and online retail sales projected to reach $294 billion. In the same year, Alibaba Group had the largest initial public offering ever, having a worth of $25 billion. Then, in 2015, selling almost 500 million stock keeping unit or SKU in the US, Amazon.com accounted for more than half of all e-commerce growth. Let us look at user-centric attacks on e-commerce portals. Security is the most important concern for e-commerce industry. With almost $400 billion spent alone in US, online retail stores are becoming more and more prevalent. A research demonstrated that 90% of youngsters below the age of 30 make purchases online, and 77% use their mobile phones for an e-commerce purchase, whereas 79% adults have e-commerce sites for purchasing clothes, household items, books, etc. E-commerce sites possess credit card information, email and passwords of users' account. Hence, sites of all sizes are susceptible to attacks. E-commerce threats can be of various types: accidental, deliberate, or due to human error. User-based attacks on e-commerce portals. Fraudulent email. As email is the most important and convenient medium of communication, it is used in most of the companies, including e-commerce portals. Exchange of information through emails is carried out both amongst employees as well as between employees and the outside world. Thus, it becomes one of the vulnerable sources from where potential attacks can be performed. For example, a user receives an email stating that there is a problem with a certain e-commerce account at the financial institute's end. The receiver is then asked to correct the problem by visiting the site through the deceptive link in the email. Countermeasures for this type of attack are to check the authenticity of the source sending the emails, to perform any sort of updates on your e-commerce accounts directly by using the accounts rather than following any link mailed to you. Then we have snowshoe spam. Spamming is one of the common problems which we deal with every day. Spam is an undesired email message sent by a person to another, but a development in spam is taking place on a whole new level in the cyber world. It is referred to as snowshoe spam. Unlike a regular spam, it is not sent from one computer, but rather a large number of IP addresses and are used to spread out the spam load, making it harder to identify and trap spam emails. To counter this type of attack, one must use anti-spam filters. OTP based frauds. OTP based frauds are on the rise these days. Attackers usually present themselves as an executive from a bank whose card a user might have linked to an e-commerce portal. Attackers generally call the victim and ask them to share their credit card number along with the OTP shared by the bank in order to update the user's bank account. Countermeasure for this type of attack is never share your OTP with anyone. Carding. Carding payment fraud with credit cards or gift cards is always one of the major concerns in e-commerce portals. These types of frauds are performed in different ways. Stolen credit cards. It can be a direct attack on stolen credit cards for the transactional ability. Gift cards. Gift cards normally have incrementing IDs. So, if an attacker gets hold of a gift card, he or she can attain more cards by incrementing the IDs. Coupons. Attackers can guess coupon codes provided by the sites. They are generally alike with just a change in a single value. For example, a coupon code with 10% discount is DISC 10 and the one with 50% discount is DISC 50. Be it any type of attack, at the end it causes a direct loss to e-commerce providers as well as to customer services due to financial fraud and compromised accounts of the users. Password attacks. Various password cracking programs are used by attackers to steal passwords of users either of their bank accounts or e-commerce accounts. The most widely used techniques on passwords are password guessing, a very common type of attack where the attacker can guess a user's password locally or remotely using either an automated or manual approach. Password resetting. A much easier way for an attacker is to reset the user's account password rather than to guess it. Many automated password guessing programs are actually password resetting programs. Password cracking. This attack involves converting a captured password hash to its plain text. Countermeasures against such attacks are: don't use common passwords, use strong alphanumeric passwords with at least 8 characters and some special symbol. Other types of attacks on e-commerce websites are specific to the web application itself. Some of these attacks include cross-site request forgery or CSRF. There are different methods by which an attacker can harm the e-commerce website via CSRF. The first method is known as CRLF or carriage return line feed, and the second one is XSS, that is cross site scripting. CRLF is a type of attack which occurs when a user manages to submit a CRLF into an application. This type of attack is generally performed by modifying an HTTP parameter or URL. Then we have log forging. Log forging means writing unvalidated user input to log files which can give access to attacker for forging log entries or he or she can inject the malicious content into the logs. Log forging vulnerabilities may occur when data is copied to an application from unreliable source. The data is copied to an application or system log files. Applications use log files to store a history of events for later review and record, statistics gathering or debugging. Analysis of the log files may be misdirected if an attacker can supply inappropriate data to the application. In the most common case, an attacker may be able to insert false entries into the log file by providing the application with input that includes appropriate characters. If the log file is processed, the attacker can render the file unusable by corrupting the format of the file or injecting unexpected characters. A more dangerous attack might involve changing the log file statistics. SQL injection. SQL injection is a code injection technique that might destroy your database. SQL injection is one of the most common web hacking techniques. It is the placement of malicious code in SQL statements via web page input. Impacts of SQL injection. Vulnerability. There are a number of things an attacker can do when exploiting an SQL injection on a vulnerable website. Usually, it depends on the privileges of the user the web application uses to connect to the database server. By exploiting an SQL injection vulnerability, an attacker can add, delete, edit or read content in the database, read source code from files on the database server, write files to the database server. Now, let us look at XSS or cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting happens whenever an application takes untrusted data and sends it to the client or browser without validation. This allows attackers to execute malicious scripts in the victim's browser, which can result in user sessions hijack, defacing websites or redirect the user to malicious sites. DOM based attack. This vulnerability is based on document object model or DOM of the page. Such an attack can happen if the JavaScript in the page accesses a URL parameter and uses this information to write HTML to the page. HTML source code and response of the attack will be exactly the same, that is, the payload cannot be found in the response. It can only be observed on runtime or by investigating the DOM of the page. Stored XSS attack. The malicious JavaScript code is permanently stored on the target server, for example, in a database, in a message forum or in user comment section. Stored XSS occurs when a web application gathers input from a user which might be malicious and then stores that input in a data store for later use. The input that is stored is not correctly filtered. As a consequence, the malicious data will appear to be part of the website and run within the user's browser under the privileges of the web application. Reflected XSS attack. Reflected attacks are those where the injected script is reflected off the web server, such as in an error message, search result or any other response that includes some or all of the input sent to the server as part of the request. Reflected attacks are delivered to victims via another route, such as in an email message or on some other websites. Buffer overflow. A buffer overflow condition occurs when a program attempts to copy more data in a buffer than it can hold. Buffer overflow is probably the best known form of software security vulnerability. At the code level, buffer overflow vulnerabilities usually involve the violation of a programmer's assumptions. Hackers use buffer overflows to corrupt the execution stack of a web application. Buffer overflow flaws can be present in both the web server or application server products that serve the static and dynamic aspects of the site. Buffer overflows generally result into crashes. Other type of attacks will create situations like lack of availability and putting the program into an infinite loop. Clickjacking. Clickjacking or user interface redress attack or UI redress attack or UI redressing is a malicious technique of tricking a web user into clicking on something different from what the user perceives they are clicking on, thus potentially revealing confidential information or taking control of their computer while clicking on seemingly innocuous web pages. It is a browser security issue, that is a vulnerability across a variety of browsers and platforms. A clickjack takes the form of embedded code or a script that can execute without the user's knowledge, such as clicking on a button that appears to perform another function. The term clickjacking was coined by Jeremiah Grossman and Robert Hansen in 2008. Clickjacking is an instance of the confused deputy problem, a term used to describe when a computer is innocently fooled into misusing its authority. The countermeasures to prevent clickjacking are: on the client side, you can install add-ons in Mozilla Chrome or other browsers to protect from clickjacking, and on the server side, you can use X-frame options correctly. Denial of service attacks. A denial of service or DOS attack is an attack meant to shut down a machine or network, making it inaccessible to its intended users. DOS attacks accomplish this by flooding the target with traffic or sending it information that triggers a crash. In both instances, the DOS attack deprives legitimate users, that is employees, members or account holders, of the services or resource they expect. A distributed denial of service DDoS attack is a malicious attempt to disrupt normal traffic of a targeted server, service or network by overwhelming the target or its surrounding infrastructure with a flood of internet traffic. DDoS attacks achieve effectiveness by utilizing multiple compromised computer systems as source of attack traffic. Exploited machines can include computers and other networked resources such as IoT devices. If seen from an elevated position, a DDoS attack is like a traffic jam clogging up the highway, preventing regular traffic from arriving at its desired destination. Countermeasures: we can install load balancer and firewall before servers. We can use Cloudflare as a proxy server as it provides DDoS protection. File inclusion attacks. It is an attack that allows an attacker to include a file on the web server through a PHP script. This vulnerability arises when a web application lets the client to submit input into files or upload files to the server. Types. There are two types of file inclusion attacks: remote file inclusion RFI, which is a method which allows an attacker to employ a script to include a remotely hosted file on the web server. The vulnerability promoting RFI is largely found on websites running on PHP. This is because PHP supports the ability to include or require additional files within a script. Use of unvalidated user supplied input within these scripts generally leads to the exploitation of this vulnerability. And with more than 70% websites running on PHP, RFI should be on every security researcher's radar, but sadly it is not. The severity of an RFI attack can range from outputting the contents of a file to arbitrary code execution. Then we have local file inclusion, or LFI. LFI is very much similar to RFI. The only difference being that in LFI, in order to carry out the attack, instead of including remote files, the attacker has to use local files, that is, files on the current server can only be used to execute a malicious script. Since this form of vulnerability can be exploited only by using a web browser, LFI can easily lead to remote code execution by including a file containing attacker controlled data, such as the web server's access logs. E-commerce websites are heavy targets for cyber attacks as they cater to a very large audience. They are capital intensive and are rich stores of customer data. In terms of volume, an e-commerce website can have over a million users at a time. Hence, the cyber attacks over such websites have wide ranging impact.